Hello, my name is Arno Pronk. I'm working at Eindhoven University of Technology. At the back you see my first large project, which is an ice dome with a 30-meter span made in Finland. But first I would like to show you some projects for the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. We made three proposals. The first proposal is the Temple in Heaven in ice, which will be realized in Zhangjiakou. The second project will be in the same spot, also in Zhangjiakou. It's a 40-meter high tower of ice made out of a kind of woven structure with ice tubes. The third project will be in Beijing. It will be in front of the water cube, and it's a suspended rope structure that will be sprayed with ice. Because in Beijing it's not as cold as in Zhangjiakou, therefore it will be an indoor structure to control the climate. Reinforced ice is already known since the Second World War, and there has been quite some research into it, but there were not really interesting applications. So I discovered this material and I thought, okay, if this material is stronger and if it's more ductile than ice, then gives a big opportunity to realize large and interesting structures. The other benefit is that you just have to add some paper or wood pulp or sawdust to the ice. So it's a completely circular material without any waste. So we have done some testing in our laboratory in Eindhoven to test the properties of this material. And what you can see is that it becomes about 3 times stronger as well as in flexural strength as in compressive strength. So just by adding some natural fibers, it becomes very strong and also very ductile. So this was the first large igloo we built in Finland with an inflatable mold. Here you see the inflatable mold. There was a light inside the inflatable, which made it very nice. And it has a span of 30 meters. It's just a blader, which supports the rope structure. And actually the rope structure is doing the form finding of this igloo. Here you will see the spraying of the ice structure. It's the spraying of the sawdust. So sawdust made the ice brown, but because ice is from natural, it's white. But it becomes very strong and ductile. Also, it avoids thermal shocking. So by spraying water on ice, you will get cracking. But by adding this reinforcement, you will not have any cracks and it becomes very strong. This was the second project we made in Finland, a kind of church like the Sagrada Familia look-alike, with a very tall domes with about 21 meters, and the dome in the back was about 30 meters high. Because of the weather, we couldn't finish the large dome, but this was the end result we made. Because the climate is much more stable in China, we went to China to realize more ice structures. Here you see my design for this flamingo ice tower, which is inspired on a flamingo dress. Here you see the 30 meters high inflatable that was used as a mold for spraying this thin shell ice structure. And after 3 weeks of spraying, this was the final result. Very high, the largest thin shell ice structure ever made. Here you see me standing in front of the ice tower at the opening. After these very large projects, we focused into 3D printing with ice. We realized this grid shell by 3D printing in ice. Actually, it was the first 3D printed grid shell in ice ever. So now we're heading for the Winter Olympics. Here you see our king, queen, and prime minister who will support us in this. Ice can also be made at higher temperatures, but just by direct cooling, as you see over here. This igloo was made at a temperature of plus 20 Celsius. Here you see the igloo after spraying. And here you see the igloo after removing the inflatable mold and spraying it from the inside. And here you see the final result. This is an inflatable, and within the inflatable you have ropes. This is the view from the inside, and you can see the ropes are that strong that you can just walk on it. So this idea inspired me to make a kind of a Voronoi structure that will be supported by an inflatable at the outside. So you can walk through the Voronoi rope structure, and that can be sprayed with water so it becomes ice. And this is how it should look like after spraying the rope structure within the inflatable. So here you see the inflatable with the rope structure and the sprayed ice as a simplified image. Okay, now I will show you two projects in Zhangjiakou. This is just a prototype of the tower we want to build. This prototype was built last year in Harbin, the north of China. And here we realized this tower. It's a rope tower with tubes at the outer side and ropes at the inner side. And here you see the tower after spraying. So you have a very nice ice pins and a kind of cable structure rigidized with ice. This is after realizing it with lights, LED lights. And this is the final result of how it should look like in Zhangjiakou during the night. The last project is the Temple of Heaven in ice. This will be the largest dome ever, larger than the one we built in Finland. And it should look like this. It will be a 40-meter span ice dome with a height of also 45 meters. So this is the team we have. So we work together with some people in Eindhoven from the Summa College and 3 universities from China in Harbin, Nanjing, and Beijing. Okay, thank you very much for listening to this lecture. I hope it inspires you.